Welcome, wonderful 11th grade U.S. history students. Welcome to week 4 of online instruction. This is our agenda for today. So this week, you guys do not have a warm-up at the beginning. So you're going to go ahead and not do the warm-up for this week, unlike the other weeks. We're going to jump straight into the topic of Unit 8, which is women. Today we're going to be talking about the portrayal and representation of women in American society. So we're going to start off by analyzing how are women portrayed in advertisements. It's like a quick activity for the first 10-15 minutes of class. Then we're going to jump straight into some notes, a timeline, which is going to be introduced in this video, of the women's movement, all the way from the 1920s all the way to the present time. So women throughout history in America. And then you're gonna be able to answer a couple of reflective questions. And at the end, you are gonna do a small project on Google Drawings. And I'll show you guys how that looks later on. But women's advertisement project, that's what we're gonna be working on today. So again, we're in Unit 8, the modern era. We're going to be talking about women throughout American history, all the way from the 1920s to 2020 America. So the year 1920 to today, so like 100 years of women history. Our objective for today is historians will understand the women's movement in America and analyze the struggles that women still face today in order to create an advertisement. So basically, we're going to understand the women's movement in America from the past to the present and kind of compare and contrast those struggles that women have faced in order to create an advertisement in support of women at the end. And I'll show you guys how that looks like at the end. The essential question that you're going to be focusing on are the struggles women face. What are the struggles that women still face today? What are the struggles that women still face today? You're going to be able to answer this by the end of this lesson. But before you guys got to this video, you guys should have already done the do now. Remember, you do not have a warm-up, but you do have a do now. It was basically an advertisement create memories and feelings that influence our behavior and beliefs over time. Therefore, how people are portrayed in the media matters. We're talking about advertisements. What are the purpose of advertisements, specifically for women? So in the do now, you were asked to answer how are women portrayed in ads. And you're going to do this by watching a short video and then reading a short little article in order to answer a couple true and false questions. And this is just to give you an idea of advertisements and women, because at the end, you're going to be creating your own advertisement. So how are women advertised in the media today in America? So we're going to take a couple notes. You don't have to write this down, but just listen through this PowerPoint. If you do want to take notes, just take out a side piece of paper and you could write it down on the side. Otherwise, you could follow the PowerPoint that's also on the Google Docs. But I'm going to talk through about women history throughout American history for the past 100 years, 1920 to 2020 today. So let's start off in the 1920s. The women's movement was fueled by feminism, which is the belief that women should have economic, political, and social equality. So when people say I am a feminist, it basically means they believe that women and men should have the same economic, political, and social equality. It doesn't mean that you're only for women and you're against men. No. Feminism means you believe that women should be equal to men economically, with money, politically, and socially. So women should be equal to men in those 3 categories. Because of this belief of feminism, there was a push in the 1920s that caused the passage of the 19th Amendment. The 19th Amendment in the U.S. Constitution and the government gave women the right to vote. Fast forward a couple years, 1960s. Because now that women had the right to vote and had more freedom and liberties, by the 1960s, 40% of the labor force was female. By the 1960s, 40% of the people working were women. Most of the jobs available to women were clerical work. However, even though they were working, they were not the top paying jobs. They were mostly supportive jobs. For example, secretaries or retail, like working in stores and retail and like Macy's and Sears. Social work, teaching, and nurses. Those were female jobs. This resulted in women getting paid less than men, even for doing the same job. So in many cases in the 1960s, women would often be paid less than men, even for sometimes doing the same job. So if there was a female teacher and a male teacher, more often than not, on average, male teachers would get paid more in the 1960s. So I want you guys to pause this video real quick to kind of reflect on what we've talked so far by answering these 3 questions. What is feminism? Why do you think women wanted the right to vote? Is there such a thing as women jobs today? So take a minute to pause this video and answer those questions on your own to see if you really understand it. Okay? Fast forward 3 years, 1963. Despite the message of civil rights movement, because in the 1960s we have the civil rights movement happening, women felt discriminated because they were given lesser roles. So even in the time where we're asking for equality and justice for African Americans and other minorities, women still felt that they were even given lesser roles in those movements. Betty Friedan, which is this lady right here, she captured the female frustration in her very, very famous book called The Feminine Mystique. So Betty Friedan was an author. She wrote this book that kind of talks about what women are in society, what they feel, what they do, and what are their roles. It quickly became a bestseller, and this book inspired women to not be compliant or submissive, to kind of not continue to do what they are being told to do, but continue to fight for change. So it was a woman empowerment movement and encouraged women to go against the traditional roles of what a woman is supposed to be doing and kind of take charge of their own lives. So very famous book, The Feminine Mystique. In 1963, the women's movement gained strength with the creation of NOUN, which is a political organization. It was called the National Organization for Women, also referred to as NOW. Now push to unmask and fight gender inequalities. Yes, we say that we have equal rights and women and men are equal, feminist movement, but in reality that was very different. And now push to show those gender inequalities, how women and men were not being treated equal. So members like Gloria Steinem, which is this woman right here to the left, she was a reporter who went undercover as a playmate in the Playboy Mansion to uncover the sexist way that women were treated. So women were being treated differently than men in the workplace, mainly sexualized in many industries, like in the Playboy Mansion. In addition to this, they fought for gender equality, the NOW organization. They fought for gender equality by rejecting female roles, like being referred to as Miss and not taking their husband's names upon marriage. I have a lot of great videos that I'll include in the PowerPoint that you guys could refer to. These are great videos that kind of go deeper into what I'm talking about right now. In 1973, a controversial position that NOW supported was a woman's right to have an abortion. This is a very hot topic even to this day. The Supreme Court ruled in the very, very, very famous court case, Roe versus Wade, that women have the right to choose an abortion. This was a major win for the women's movement because it gave women the right to choose what to do with their own body. For example, the choice to have an abortion. However, the debate, as you guys know, is still going on today, with many states placing requirements before having an abortion, for example, even though Roe versus Wade made it legal, made it okay to have an abortion, a lot of conservative states were like, no, we don't want that to happen. So they put a lot of laws to make it harder for you to have an abortion. They're not stopping you from having an abortion because they can do that under Roe versus Wade, but they can make it harder on you. For example, in states like Mississippi, you have to look at an ultrasound before you could have an abortion. Or if you do have an abortion in states like Mississippi or Georgia, you have to have a funeral for your fetus. And they also, in many states in the South, they defunded Planned Parenthood. These are steps or laws that make it harder for women to have an abortion. Again, this topic is very controversial today. Again, check for understanding. Take a minute to pause this video and answer these questions. Why was the feminine mystique so popular among women? What is NOW? How did women fight for gender equality? And why is Roe versus Wade so controversial? And what is your position on this issue? So you're going to take a minute to pause this video and answer these questions. Right? 1973 to today. The movement succeeded in encouraging women to stay in the workforce, and even after having children and opening opportunities in the male-dominant fields like medicine and law, passing Title IX, no gender discrimination in education. So to all my female athletes, the reason that you're able to play sports is because of the passage of Title IX, which allowed funding for female sports as well. However, the fight continues today. Many women still face a glass ceiling, an invisible line preventing women to rise to positions of power and wage inequality. To this day, just like the 1960s, women still get paid less than men, 80 cents to the dollar. Uh, 80 cents to a dollar what a man makes for doing the same job. That still happens today. 1991 to today, the Anita Hill case, which has accused a U.S. Supreme Court nominee, Clarence Thomas, this guy right here, of sexual harassing her at work. So Anita Hill was intern for Clarence Thomas, which was a judge in the Supreme Court, and she accused him of sexually harassing at work. It went to court. Hill testified in front of the Congress. There was a double complaint filed with the Equal Employment Opportunity against Clarence Thomas, and unfortunately, it didn't lead to much. He still got appointed to the Supreme Court, and this was repeated against in more recent years with the appointment of the newest Supreme Court justice. Today, the Me Too movement that began in 2017 to help demonstrate the widespread occurrence of sexual harassment at the workplace still continues to fight. So the Me Too movement has been prominent since 2017, and many times AJR students have participated in it as well. So now that you have a brief, very basic understanding of women throughout history, how are women portrayed in advertisements? So in order to get a better understanding of how advertisements are portrayed in women, you're going to look at a couple of examples of what advertisements are, and you are going to create your own advertisement. So it is your job to rebrand the portrayal of women. Your ads must be directed towards women. Your ad must be about one of the following issues women face. On the Google Docs, if you guys click on each one of these, it'll take you to different resources about all of these topics. So issues that women still face today. What your job is to choose one of these topics and create an advertisement that portray women in a positive way. These are the requirements. You must have at least one image. It could be whatever you want about your topic. Your ad must have a slogan, something that captures my attention, because that's what ads do. They capture your idea. For example, Nike has a slogan that says, just do it. Whenever I think of just do it, I think of Nike. Or McDonald's, I'm loving it. Those are slogans that catch your attention. You're going to create your own slogan for your advertisement to catch my attention. Make sure to add evidence, which is why when you click on one of these links, it'll take you to different resources. You could get your evidence from any one of those readings or from other sources online. Facts, charts, other forms of evidence to support your issue. And of course, your ad must be creative. All of this will be done on Google Drawings. It's a place where you could create an advertisement by adding pictures and slogans and images and colors. It is a creative project where you're going to be portraying women in a positive light. This is my example. I created this on Google Docs. I added pictures. Here's my pictures. Here's my slogan, the future is female. And here's a couple of facts. I made it like a real advertisement calling for women to be more in the workplace. I chose women in the workplace, women jobs, not just the traditional teachers, nurses, secretaries, but more like high-paying jobs that are traditionally male, like engineers. So I want more females in the engineering and the sciences. So I made this advertisement promoting women to go into the engineering field. I had my slogan, I have my evidence, and I have my pictures, and I created this on Google Docs. Please feel free to be as creative as you want. Just please make sure that at the end you share this with me, because if you don't, I won't be able to see it, and I won't be able to grade it. So please make sure that you share it with me. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please come to my office hours Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1:30 to 2:10 so I could help you out with this. I'm giving you a little bit more. I didn't give you guys the warm-up to give you guys more time to focus on this because we are creating an advertisement and a creative project, and I know that requires a little bit of more time. Just a reminder, this week we do have our first assessment, our second assessment, and our first live presentations for period 2 and for period 3. So if you're in my period 2 or my period 3, I'll see you live on Friday at 11. Have a wonderful day, and please go to office hours if you need my help.